Eastern Exorcist is a 2D side-scrolling action RPG that is set in a fantasy Eastern world with various demons and monsters. Basically, throughout the game, you have to fight off these monsters, take on bosses and mini-enemies, and take their health bar down to 0. Then what you have to do is banish them to the nether region. This is the only way that you can get rid of these demons, and otherwise they kind of just regain their health and then are just complete assholes to you again. And this was a game that I found on Game Pass recently because I believe it was recently added and it looked pretty decent. I'm not the biggest fan of side scrollers, but I give most of them a chance with a pretty open mind, and this one had some pretty decent graphics and settings that I actually enjoyed. It definitely has like a Chinese or Japanese type of influence with various different Asian architectures that are seen throughout the game, as well as various different traditional clothings. Movement is very simple, consisting of pretty much just double jumps and moving forward and backwards. You can also use parrying attacks and just various different combat methods, and throughout the game you can use both charged attacks and standard attacks. And of course you can dash, dodge, and block. There is a stamina bar that keeps you just from consistently blocking and throwing attacks, and overall you have different enemy types that you do engage. The combat is relatively simple and is mostly made complex through different skills that you can unlock in a large skill tree. The skill tree can be a little bit overwhelming, consisting of quite a few different skills. However, you are allowed to unlock only a few at the start, which makes it pretty simple to make that decision. And then as you go on, you unlock various different things that make it so you can combo together different attacks or do different things to enemies. As you level up, it does really feel like you get more and more power, and it allows you to kind of banish enemies much more quickly. You encounter NPCs throughout that provide various different little stories, although to be honest, none of them are heavily memorable. And outside of the setting and kind of idea of this game, there's not much for me to say about it. It is kind of lackluster and doesn't really hold anything unique enough in order to make it, stick out in my mind for a side scroller. It has a good, unique setting, it has some decent combat, but generally speaking, it's just not enough in order to keep me engaged for longer than about an hour. And you can follow Twitter and Instagram, that'll pop up during the outro. And thank you guys for joining us during this one.
I spaced out of my head to the depths of the universe. It's a spell or a chance just to open up.